fucking, you know what? Let's get something off our chest. We're too spoiled these days. We're going to start like this. We're way too spoiled when it comes to purchasing weed in Canada. You know what? The process has changed so much. I finally donned my shadow into a weed store to get some of these little. That was a weird way to say that. And I finally. See, this is where my thoughts are going to be going. But I finally got into a weed store just to, usually I just walk in. I don't deal with anything. What do you want? I don't know. That. I just go with that. Just give me that. And they hand it to me. But I went through the process of being like, so what does this all do? Because in my day, now this is 2000, probably 5, maybe 6, is when I started smoking weed in high school because I was a cool guy, right? Cool guy Brendan walking around with his Biggie Small shirt, smoking doobies behind the fucking school because he's Dr. Cool, But when we would buy weed, it was always like a sketchy guy, or it was like some of your friends got it from the sketchy guy. The sketchy guy handed a mass amount so you could sell enough weed to get your weed for free is essentially how it went selling dope in high school. And you never knew what the fuck it was. There was always a name. Yeah, that blueberry yum yum from Squamish, BC, And you'd have to just believe that person. Whatever the fuck they said, they could make it up on the spot. This is some of that monkey glue gorilla dick. You remember that shit that Snoop was talking about in High Times? Yeah, I got that right here. Monkey glue gorilla dick. Or whatever I said. It was always some fucking wild names. OG Kush was always a big one. Yeah, I got some of that OG Kush. No one knew what the fuck. Oh, yeah, OG Kush. Then the rumors spread, You couldn't tweet it out. You weren't that dumb. We weren't that stupid just to tweet out, got that OG Kush on Facebook, We were still in the days where we called people on the phone. It was a weird time. You had T9 text. That gets brought up a lot on this podcast. But it was too much. It was too much to handle. So you'd call a guy. And then this guy would hopefully have any weed. It was just, hey, I hope he has some shit. And then if, the buddy that's selling it usually ran out. So now you're like, fucking, you're scrambling. It used to be like a 2.5 hour process just to find a 20 bag of weed, just to get 4 joints. 2.5 hour venture. And sometimes you had to travel far distances to get that shit. Now you walk into a store and some fucking nerd, some nerd. You would never trust this guy 10 years ago to tell you what kind of weed you're smoking. Are you kidding me? The kids that they have behind those fucking counters, I look at them as a 31-year-old, some 18-year-old be like, bro, yeah, this is, they always talk like as if they have a bit of intelligence behind their eyes, like this is where I wanted to end up. I wanted to end up behind the glass at the fucking weed store, the local weed store. Fuck, 20 years, no, that'd be about 14 years ago. 14 years ago is always some trashy looking 45-year-old, hasn't shaved in 6 months, reeks like beer because smoking dope and drinking beer is just it's a grand old time. 2 good things that can really grab a gear in your hazy vision. But to just imagine that those folks back then in my day slanging weed, you would beat them up. You would beat them up. 100% you would beat them up and take the weed. You would bully them. And now they're like, yeah, that'll come to just, you can, taps right here. Taps right here. Fucking drug dealers ever said that to me. Oh, the tap is just right here. Something wrong with that. I hate that it's legalized now. It takes like the coolness from. That's why more people are doing coke. Makes more sense that way. Now that I think about it, because it's like badass. I'm glad I'm out of that game. It was too much. It was way too much to keep up. You can only run a race car around the track a few times before you got to change its tires. You know what I mean? Just Hoover and Schneef like that. That was quite the time. It was a retarded time. If you really think about it. It's funny to joke about that shit, but like when it gets a grip on you, it's not so much fun anymore. It just like ruins you. You can feel like you're, I don't know. The fucked up thing is it doesn't feel like you're slipping. That's the whole craziness behind it. And when it comes to like this homelessness, which I'm going to talk about, the tents being removed in Vancouver,